Imagine growing up in poverty. No father in the house. Terrible grades. People around you already expecting you to fail. Now imagine becoming one of the most respected neurosurgeons in the world. Not because life was easy, but because you changed the way you think. That is the story of Ben Carson. And in his book, Think Big, he explains the mindset principles that helped him rise from struggle to greatness. These principles are not only for doctors. They are for students, creators, dreamers, people trying to escape limitations. Today, we're going deep into the lessons from this powerful book. And by the end of this video, you may completely rethink the way you see your future. 1. Your environment does not define you. Ben Carson did not grow up with privilege. He was raised by a single mother who had very little education. They struggled financially. They lived in poor neighborhoods. And as a child, Ben was considered one of the worst students in class. People mocked him. Teachers underestimated him. At one point, he believed he was stupid. Now think about that. One of the world's greatest brain surgeons once believed he had no intelligence. That alone should challenge the excuses many people make today. Because sometimes, the biggest limitation is not your environment. It is your belief about yourself. Ben Carson's mother refused to allow her children become victims of their circumstances. Even though she could barely read herself. She understood something powerful. If your mind changes, your life can change. That lesson changed everything. Many people today are trapped mentally before they are trapped physically. They already believe, I can't succeed. People like me never make it. My background is holding me back. But history repeatedly proves something different. Your beginning does not determine your ending. And sometimes the first step toward success is simply believing that your future can be greater than your present. 2. The power of reading. One of the biggest turning points in Ben Carson's life came through reading. His mother limited television. Instead, she forced Ben and his brother to read books every week and write reports about them. At first, Ben hated it. He thought it was punishment. But slowly, something started happening. His vocabulary improved. His imagination expanded. His confidence increased. And eventually, the boy who struggled academically started outperforming other students. Why? Because books changed the way he thought. Reading exposes you to ideas that can completely transform your mindset. A single book can save years of struggle. Yet many people spend hours scrolling endlessly online while avoiding knowledge that could elevate their lives. Think about it. The average successful person reads consistently. Why? Because growth requires new perspectives. If you feed your mind garbage constantly, your thinking becomes weak. But when you feed your mind wisdom, your decisions improve. Books teach you discipline, emotional intelligence, leadership, communication, financial wisdom, and self-control. That is why self-education is powerful. School may give you information, but personal learning gives you transformation. 3. Thinking big changes your actions. Most people think small because they are afraid. Afraid of failure. Afraid of embarrassment. Afraid of rejection. So instead of pursuing greatness, they settle for comfort. But Ben Carson explains that successful people think differently. They see possibilities where others see limitations. Thinking big does not mean arrogance. It means refusing to place unnecessary limits on your potential. For example, a student thinking big studies beyond passing exams. A creator thinking big builds a long-term vision. A poor person thinking big searches for opportunities instead of excuses. Your thoughts influence your behavior. And your behavior shapes your future. If you constantly think, Nothing will work for me. You stop trying. But when you believe improvement is possible, you take action. This is why mindset matters so much. Because success usually begins internally before it appears externally. Before the money. Before the recognition. Before the achievements. There was first a belief. 4. Talent is not enough. One of the most dangerous beliefs in society is this. Successful people are simply gifted. But Ben Carson's story destroys that idea. He was not born a genius. He developed through discipline. And that is important. Because talent without discipline often leads nowhere. Many naturally talented people fail because they lack consistency. Meanwhile, average people who work hard eventually surpass them. Discipline creates results. Waking up when you don't feel like it. Studying when others are distracted. Practicing repeatedly. Staying focused long enough to improve. That is how greatness is built. The world often celebrates the final success, but rarely sees the years of sacrifice behind it. People see achievement. They don't see the loneliness, the failures, the doubts, the repetition, the patience. Ben Carson spent years sharpening his abilities before becoming extraordinary. And that principle applies to every field. Whether medicine, business, YouTube, sports, or academics. Long-term discipline beats short-term motivation. 5. Anger can destroy your destiny. One of the most shocking parts of Ben Carson's story is that he struggled with anger as a young boy. Many people only know the successful version of him. But internally, he battled rage. At one point, his anger became so intense that he nearly harmed someone during an argument. That moment terrified him. And he realized something powerful. If he did not control his emotions would destroy his future. That lesson is critical today. Many intelligent people ruin opportunities because they cannot control themselves. A lack of emotional control can destroy relationships, careers, reputations, and futures. Self-control is one of the highest forms of intelligence. Because intelligence is not only about what you know. It is also about how you behave under pressure. Ben Carson began working on his mindset deeply. He prayed. He reflected. He learned patience. And slowly, he transformed emotionally. This reminds us that personal growth is not only external success. Real growth also involves mastering yourself internally. 6. Excellence attracts opportunities. Ben Carson became respected because he pursued excellence relentlessly. Not popularity. Not shortcuts. Excellence. Today, many people chase visibility before mastery. They want attention before competence. But true success usually comes from becoming extremely valuable. When your work becomes excellent, people notice. Opportunities appear. Doors open. The marketplace rewards value. And one of the fastest ways to separate yourself from average people is by becoming exceptional at something useful. This applies especially to students. Don't study only to pass exams. Study to become skilled. Because one day, someone's life may depend on your competence. Ben Carson approached medicine with seriousness because he understood the responsibility attached to it. That mindset pushed him beyond mediocrity. 7. Faith, purpose, and responsibility. Another major lesson from Think Big is purpose. Ben Carson believed his life had meaning. And people who have purpose often endure difficulties better than those who don't. Purpose gives suffering direction. It gives discipline meaning. It gives sacrifice value. Without purpose, people become lost easily. They drift through life reacting to circumstances instead of building intentionally. Ben Carson also emphasized responsibility. Instead of blaming society endlessly, he focused on what he could control. That mindset is powerful. Because blaming may feel satisfying temporarily, but responsibility creates change. You cannot always control where you start, what people say, or the obstacles you face. But you can control your mindset, your effort, your habits, and your response. That is where personal power begins. 8. Success requires sacrifice. Many people admire success, but few admire sacrifice. People want results quickly, but meaningful success usually requires patience, consistency, discomfort, and delayed gratification. Ben Carson sacrificed entertainment to study. He sacrificed comfort to improve himself. And eventually, those sacrifices created opportunities most people only dream about. This principle is universal. If you want extraordinary results, you cannot live with ordinary discipline. Sometimes growth requires saying no to distractions, waking up earlier, studying longer, practicing harder, and remaining focused when others quit. Temporary discomfort can create permanent rewards. Final message: think big about your life. The greatest lesson from Think Big is simple. Never allow your current reality to limit your future vision. Ben Carson's life proves that transformation is possible. A struggling child became a world-renowned neurosurgeon because he changed his mindset, his habits, his discipline, and his vision. And maybe that is the message you needed today. Maybe your current situation is not your final chapter. Maybe your struggles are preparing you for something greater. But it starts with how you think. Think bigger about your future, your abilities, your discipline, your purpose, and your potential. Because sometimes, the life you want begins the moment you stop thinking small. If this video inspired you, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and share it with someone who needs motivation today. And remember, your environment may influence you, but your mindset can transform you.